Hi everybody. So this feels a little bit too formal, too uncomfortable maybe. Never done a video like this, but I hope it helps out some of you. This is a highly requested video, I would say, because after my graduation video went up, I got so many DMs and comments and messages saying, just asking me about LSR and my experience. So I thought, you know what, might as well do it. I think the admission processes are going on. I thought this might just be a little bit helpful for some people. So anyway, so I was in Lady Shri Ram College for Women from 2016. I was a batch of 2019. I studied Bachelor's of Arts in English Honors. So that was a program for 3 years. And my general elective or my minor subject was political science. Yeah, so what we did in English Honors, as some people might ask, is the first thing is it easy or is it hard? Like I cannot answer that, honestly. I really cannot answer that. It's up to you, it's up to the teachers, it's up to how you deal with it, to be honest. Like I took English Honors because I enjoyed literature. I still really enjoy literature. That was the only thing I wanted to do in college. Basically, English Honors would be literature, and it's not only English literature from the Western world. We did literature from all over the world, including Indian literature, but in English. So it was more like literatures in English. And yeah, I think you can see the syllabus in the DU website. It is uniform throughout all DU colleges. So the next thing I want to point out is that I got through LSR only in the 5th list, in the 5th cutoff list. And I just want to point this out right now because the first list came out and obviously it's always impossible, nearly impossible to get into the first list. I'm just saying, do not freak out yet. Don't freak out yet. If you really want to get in, you just might, there's still chances. The lists go on, I think till the 5th list is like official, and then a lot of colleges still put out lists till like 11. And then there are lists that colleges put out if in case there are seats still left in their college for that particular subject. So there's still a chance that you will get in. Don't freak out yet. And just want to point out there that even if one list closes, I would recommend you still check the lists for the colleges you want because they sometimes open up. And this is because few students prefer other colleges over the current college they're admitted to. So quick disclaimer there, this is my experience, this is what I went through, this is what I did. I know there are quite a few issues and different experiences a lot of people might go through. Obviously it's going to be relative, and on top of all this, I will try to be as apolitical and diplomatic as possible. This is just for information basis. I'm not here to bash LSR, I'm not here to sponsor LSR. I'm just trying to give information so that it helps out quite a few of you. Yes, now let's get into the video. I thought, okay, I'm looking at my notes here because so that I don't digress too much. I guess we can start by what I did in LSR. So English Honors was my major. My general elective or my minor subject was political science. I was a part of the Western Music Society, which is the a cappella group, for 1 year. So this was my first year. I think my first year just went by just in Western Music Society. I do not remember much from my first year except that I was just a part of the Western Music Society. Second year, I did more of the department stuff. I was more involved in a few department stuff, like my English department stuff, or I did a lot of NSS work because I had to complete my hours. And by my third year, I think I took it more relaxed. I paid a little more attention to my studies finally, and participated in the winter school held by University of Bath. And I did a bit more of department stuff and made a bit of contribution for Jabberwock and the Elocution Society, which was very last minute, I remember, but I did it. So yes, that's, to put it briefly, what I did. And I went to all trips. I went to all the department trips. Did I? I think I did go to all the department trips, if I'm not wrong. I made quite a few friends, you could say. Let's start off by what I liked about LSR. First impression that I got from LSR, this was when I was shifting from one college to LSR. This was during the admission process. So my first impression was, wow, this is a smooth administration. Now, before people come and attack me for it, because I know that the admin gets a lot of slack and I know there are a lot of issues with the admin, this was just my first impression. Comparatively to other DU colleges, or at least to the college that I was in first, I think LSR had a smooth admission process. The other college took about 3 to 4 days just to get my admission done. It was so haphazardly done, it was just so not organized. And when I came to LSR, I got it done within just an hour or half an hour, just smoothly. That was a big deal for me, and I was like, okay, this is better. Now, of course, there are problems with the admin, but we're gonna get to that later. Next up is that Lady Shri Ram College for Women is obviously all girls college. Now, at first, I was a little apprehensive. I was hesitating to even go into this because the last time I had an experience with an all-girls institution, it was just so bad. It was back in school and I cried every day. I hated it so much. But all that changed. I loved that it was an all-girls institution. I loved the supportive energy. I just loved the safety, the support, the security, the comfort that came with an all-girls society. And when you're put in that social setting, it's just like a different homogeneous social setting, it's just a different vibe. I think you learn so much more, and because of that comfort and security which some of us felt, I feel like some of us were able to share more about the problems in the society regarding gender issues and sexuality and all that, and it just felt more safe. And it was a very non-judgmental college, I would say, at least for me. Everybody did their own stuff. Nobody cared what you did in college. Like, I think that is college in general, but in LSR that was like push. Nobody cared how you looked. Nobody cared where you came from. Nobody cares. Like, that's a good thing though. Just like everybody's doing their own thing. Everybody's going about their day. Everybody's going back, coming here. But at the same time, it was so supportive. People would definitely understand what you're going through. There were regular compliments like from random people, be like, yeah, I really like this, whatever you're wearing. I really like your hair, or I really like the way you did this project, and you know, you're working on something, and they would just compliment you saying, this was a great work done, like good job. It was very supportive. It was very collaborative, I think, or at least in my experience. Could be just the English department too. I don't know. I'm not sure, because I remember a few other departments would be like, oh, your department gets along so well and blah blah blah. I'm not sure. Maybe I'm being biased here. I don't know. I made the best of friends, really close contacts. It was great networking, if that's something else you want to know. Great networking, because everyone around you is so passionate. Everyone around you, even if they were not passionate, they were smart. And just to be surrounded by that kind of positive energy is good. The overall vibe, the surroundings, the environment was just more on the positive side, I would say. Next up, this is something more of an advantage that you have if you get into LSR, and that is you have access to Jstor. And I didn't know that a lot of colleges in DU didn't have access to Jstor. Only a few colleges have it, or are we the only college that has it? I'm not sure. But LSR lets you have access to Jstor, and Jstor is basically a platform where you can access academic journals and articles, newsletters, all that good stuff. It's there. And the good thing about this is it helps you with your research. These are all references you can go to. So in research areas, or the opportunities or the resources that you get from LSR is definitely good. It's definitely better. The professors are also very responsive, like they would help you if you need any kind of readings in that case. So the catalog is good, because not only do you have the libraries, the reference section, but you also have access to Jstor. Another thing which might just give you an advantage if you're in LSR is, this is something I recently found out because a friend of mine is applying for colleges abroad, like universities abroad in UK, and a few of those colleges, if this is of course if you want to do your master's or further studies, a few universities recognize some specific Delhi university colleges. Now it could recognize DU as a whole, but I think a few universities recognize certain colleges like Lady Shri Ram, like LSR, yes. And you might just have an advantage because I think the criteria is different. I think the CGPA you need is lower or something like that. There is some advantage of that, where you might just have an edge over other colleges. I mean, you have to do your research when it comes to further studies. Like, I can't really give much advice on that. That is up to the universities, and again, that depends on how good your grades are. That depends on how good your SOP or your other portfolio, whatever the other requirements are. It all depends on that eventually at the end of the day. but I'm just saying that this was something I didn't know. So now let's get to what I didn't really like about LSR. Because LSR is all good. It's all good vibes, good networking, good resources, yes. What I really didn't like about LSR, let's get to one thing. The strict attendance. Compared to a lot of DU colleges, LSR makes sure their attendance is done right. I remember a lot of other people from different colleges would just get done by noon or by 2 o'clock, whereas people from LSR would still go on with college like 4 or 5:30. Of course, there would be breaks in the middle, but it would just make you mad because sometimes you'd have an hour break or just 2 hours break, and where can you actually just go off? When you have the whole day free, it just made more sense. So, and the attendance is just so strict. So that is something I kind of struggled with, and I really just didn't like that about LSR. Like, you had to get a 66.67% for every class, for every lecture, something like that. And if you didn't make it, I think they were gonna make you sign a bond. And I think if your attendance was really bad, they would not allow you to give the first paper, or if it was even worse, 2 papers, and you'd have to get a back paper or like a resit the next year. You'd have to redo that paper again. So yeah, in case you weren't warned, I'm warning you that attendance is pretty strict. It all depends on the professors too. I guess some professors might just let you go up, but most professors don't. The other thing that I didn't like at all was a compulsory participation in either NSS, NSO, or NCC. Now, NSS is the National Social Service, I think. So that was basically you participating in social services and NGOs. So this can be from helping the underprivileged to helping women, or helping the differently able, to helping kids, to helping animals. So obviously there's like a whole plethora of choices. That's nice, but it's just compulsory for you to take part in it. Within those 3 years, I think for NSS, it's like you can do it in 1 year. There are certain hours you need to complete for the different NGOs. These NGOs are spread all over Delhi, so accordingly you can choose whatever location works for you, or whatever timing works for you, or if you're really passionate about those rights or the people who you're gonna help, that is also something you can consider. NSO is National Sports Organization. I think you have to do this within a span of 2-3 years. I'm not sure. I wasn't a part of this. So this is sports basically. So you go to campus and you play sports, I guess. And NCC is the National Cadet Corps. Let me just look that up. Yes. How do you pronounce it?
Cadet.
Cadet. Okay. So that's NCC. This is so bad. Okay, basically what Google's telling me is that NCC is a youth wing of armed forces with its headquarters at New Delhi. It's open to school and college students on voluntary basis. So yes, you can either choose to do NSS, you can either choose to do NSO, or you can do NCC. But this was compulsory participation, which I really didn't like, but you know, you had to do what you had to do, and then you just did it. You just got done with it. And I mean, it's not that bad. Like, I'm making it look a little bad. It's not that bad. Moving on, I didn't like how the extracurricular activities, which is the ECAs, were hardly given much priority, I think, compared to other colleges. And it was a little hard to give them priority, I guess, because of such strict attendance rules. You know, it just clashed all the time. So if you were a part of any society, and if you wanted to meet up for practice, or if you wanted to meet up to work together, whatever it may be, you had to either meet early in the morning before the classes started, or during the breaks in between, or after classes. Western Music Society usually met after classes, so sometimes your days would just drag on. And I think there were, Drum Soc or something, the Dramatic Society, which would meet in all those 3 timings. Yeah, so it just depends on which society, how much work you have to do, how much of group collaboration is required. It couldn't be helped, I guess, but it was a little tiring. But it was a great experience. I would say yes, join a society. You would meet one of the most interesting people ever. You will sometimes find family, and you would just make the best of friends sometimes. And at the end of the day, you have to realize, like, you're meeting because all of you are passionate about a common thing. So later on, that is also very good for networking. Just, yeah, and of course, like, college is what you make out of it. And if you want to make friends in college too, that is a good way to make friends. You should try to participate in a lot of other things, meet as much people as you can, and eventually you will find the people you vibe with. I would say it's hard work, but it's worth it. The other one, I think, what a lot of people didn't like about LSR, or be like, yes, it looks great on the outside, it's a prestigious college, blah blah blah, but there were quite a few problems with the administration and the principal. I don't want to get too political about it, I don't want to get too problematic about this, but yes, they exist. The students union try to stay together as much as possible, and we just try to figure it out as much, and it's quite an experience, I would say. I think one of the most like damn kind of experience I personally had was, I think this was during the Kerala floods. Yeah, I think this was during the Kerala floods. And in order to help them, the student union wanted to collect money and donate them. But for some reason, there were some problems, and the administration or the principal, whatever, they didn't really want us to do that in college. And then the whole issue rose up how North Indians, or issues regarding North India, is highlighted so much more compared to other parts of India. And then there were issues like, oh, the same thing happens when it comes to language. And then other issues sprung up, like the SC/ST issues, people from the Northeast were having their own issues. So what the student union did was, alright, you don't want us to collect money in your premises, then we shall collect money right outside college premises. And they were right outside the college gate to collect the donations. I do not want to get too much into it, but in case you're interested, in case you want to know more about it, there are a few Instagram pages that you can follow, that I follow, to keep in touch with whatever is happening, mainly activism in general, or certain issues that students from LSR, students from DU itself, or just students in general are, and I will link them down below. These are not, I don't think these are necessarily run by students from LSR, but a lot of my colleagues, a lot of my friends from LSR, we follow these pages. So yes, so Pinjrator is itself a whole movement. So I don't think it's just for LSR people, but it's like a whole movement for women and for women's right, women's safety, gender issues in general. Next I follow is Overheard LSR. So this was more of like a fun page. If you go on to the page, you would basically, they post about what you hear or overhear people say in campus. But I think on their story highlights, they have put together certain issues that need to be addressed, that need to be highlighted, and I think this could be more or less to do with LSR and not in general as Pinjrator is. And yes, if there are any Elsas watching this and if you want to put other pages, other Instagram pages or other links, then do comment down below. That just might help other people, other students, prospective students, to see what we are doing and what we're up to. Because I graduated a year ago, I do not know much unless it's on national news or I see people posting about it. So yeah, just comment down below. That might just be helpful for some of us. So I just want to let you know, like, throughout my 3 years, LSR was there for pretty much everything. It's very keen on activism. The university, or rather the students, take it very seriously. There are people who are fighting for something or the other. I mean, that itself is an amazing experience. I hope I was able to give a little bit of helpful information out there. I just want to wish everyone who is starting their new college year all the best, and remember that college is basically what you make out of it. It doesn't matter which college you get into it. Honestly, there are people who would get into like the best college but still do nothing about it. It's all about what you make out of it, what you do apart from college. So thank you for watching this video. Do leave your comments below or message me, DM me, and I'll try to help out. All the best, and thank you for watching. Bye bye.